My name is Claude Holland, and I'm a former track and field athlete at John Adams High School, teacher, coach, administrator. And I'm here with two legends. I have Miss Cindy Anzalone Fox, who participated at Glenville High School and Rhodes High School in distance events. And I'm also here with Sediah Erskine, who participated at Rhodes High School in distance events. And the unique thing about these athletes here is that at the time that they were running, distance events were not the vogue thing for the athletes in the Cleveland public schools. Cleveland public schools were known more for sprinting and relay running and hurdling, but you two decided to take up distance running. That's very, 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 I want to hear about why you did that in just a few minutes. We've compiled quite a bit of information as we research this project that we're doing right now, which is the Cleveland Legends of CMSD Senate League History Project. And it is apparent during various eras that the Cleveland Senate League sports teams have had tremendous success in a multitude of sports, including hockey, tennis, volleyball, swimming, and golf. A lot of people weren't aware of that. But there are several Senate League sports that have stood out across eras. Basketball was one, and track and field and cross country also was another one. I would like to know, Ms. Anzalone, you obviously both are outstanding distance runners for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. And Ms. Anzalone, you ran for Glenville and Rhodes High School. You ran in the state meet cross country for Glenville and Rhodes, and you became the first Cleveland Metropolitan School District female to compete in state and cross country. You went on to win the state title in the 800, performed extremely well in the 1600 also. This led to a storied Hall of Fame career at the University of Houston. And Sediah, you were extremely successful distance runner for Rhodes, as I said before, and you qualified to 3 state cross country meets. That's outstanding. And you also finished second place in the 3200 meter run and third in the 1600 in 2005 and 2006. Cindy, when you attended the Cleveland schools, the girls' track programs were known for top-level sprinting, hurdling, and relay running, yet you chose to run distance. Why?
Well, it really wasn't my choice. Back in the day, we started high school in 10th grade. So high school was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Well, the summer right before 10th grade, some friends of mine said, hey, why don't you do the playground junior Olympics with us? And I said, okay, I'll do the junior Olympics. Well, it just so happens that at the district junior Olympics, I was the MVP female, winning the 100, winning the long jump.
Wow.
Wait, 12.2, this is yards now, 16.6 in the long jump, and then our shuttle our shuttle relay. 200-meter shuttle relay, you're running back and forth, actually 200 yards.
Yes.
Tag the hand or whatever.
Yes.
We won, so I was MVP. So it just so happens that meet was at Rhodes High School. And Jim Zickus, who was the coach at Rhodes, saw me running and he said, hey, you want to run cross country? And I said, what's cross country? Little did I know, that was the beginning of a wonderful relationship and a great career. Wow. So I really had no choice, I guess. I don't know. In high school, I ran the quarter quite often as a 10th grader. I ran 57.2, I think was my PR. Yeah. Wow. But still, I guess Coach Zickus thought, hey, you got that speed. Let's put you in a distance event. So.
That's a very interesting story.
But distance back then wasn't like it is now. Like distance training, we probably trained 10, 15 miles a week. We really, and with the girls running, it was Title IX was passed in 72, and this was 79.
Okay.
So it wasn't a whole lot of, pushing for the distance, even though that was the long, slow distance era.
Right, right.
But we just didn't run a lot of distance, and I just happened to be very blessed that I could do the distance races and still win with a kick at the end. So and actually that's why I won the state meet.
So that's interesting, because I thought I knew you and I thought that you had never, ever, ever even picked up a starting block in your life. I thought you never ran anything under the marathon. Just kidding. Oh. Okay. But no, that's a great story. Yeah. That's something that many of our track and field athletes should get a chance to hear, because most of the time people tend to want to put everyone in the short events because they think it's easier for them. They think people will stay longer if you don't tell them to go out and run 10 miles and puke. Well, you know how that is with distance running. So to have you both be so successful as distance runners, it's amazing just to be able to sit here with you guys and to know that. I'm going to continue with you, Cindy, because as I said, you come from a storied school in terms of distance running. There was a young man named Ron Addison who attended Rhodes High School.
Yes.
And did you have any opportunities to meet with Ron or talk with him? Did he have any influence?
No, I really didn't, because he graduated in '72 and I graduated in '82. So that's, he wasn't attending school while I was there, and when I attended Rhodes, he was living his life. He was on to college, Olympic trials, so he was doing that, and I was being a high school kid. So I actually didn't meet him till years later.
Okay.
Yes. But his picture was on the wall, and I wanted my picture on the wall at Rhodes.
I figured that his picture was somewhere.
I said, Coach, how do I get my picture? He says, you got to be a state champ. I'm like, okay.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, I appreciate that. Sediah,
yes.
What or who influenced you to take up distance running in a conference with few outstanding female distance runners?
Well, I started distance running in middle school, actually. And I only became a distance runner because the coaches had no idea what event to put me in. And so there was nobody for the mile, so they're just like, Sediah, jump in there. And I end up winning. So,
oh, wow.
So I guess it was just meant to be for me to become a distance runner. And I actually started off at South High. I was bused to South High. I lived on the west side, like 3 miles away from Lincoln West. And I got bused over to South.
Wow.
And then I was at a track meet one day, and my father hated the school South because it was not a good school when I was there. So my dad ended up meeting Tyrone Owens at a track meet one day, and he started talking about me to Mr. Owens, and they built a relationship, and the next year I was sent over to Rhodes. I did have to sign up for all of TC, so in order to go. But
yes.
Yeah, so that's what started me over at Rhodes. And Owens was an amazing coach, and he was there for me every step of the way. But also, I have to give a shout out to my actual distance coach, because Owens had all of the sprinters,
yes.
And our coach, Miss Marixa Gonzalez Moreto, she was my distance coach. And she, to this day, she is, the most amazing woman I've ever, met in my life. She literally, set me up for success. I never thought about college until she, told me, you are going to college and, you're going to go on a full ride. So, if it wasn't for her, I would not have been as a dynamite runner as I became. I definitely owe my career to her.
Yeah, she's a great person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you have actually answered some of the next question that I was going to present to you. But I want you both to kind of delve a little deeper into the athlete-coach relationship. How important is the athlete-coach relationship, not just from an athletic perspective, but more importantly, from a personal life coach perspective? What kinds of things did you get from your coaches, well and beyond just the workouts and the training and the preparation for your particular events? But what kind of a personal relationship did you develop with your coaches, and how did that help to guide some of your decision making in your post-high school life and also into your adult life and maybe into your coaching careers?
Yeah, because we have had more than one coach throughout our careers.
Absolutely.
And it started with Jim Zickus, and great man.
Yes.
I was having problems with my family. My mother was dying of cancer. Wow. 5 girls in the family. Dad working, busted his hump just to keep food on the table. And Mr. Zickus was always there to pick me up. I'd stand on the corner and he'd pick me up and take me to school, and he'd bring me back afterwards. And I think he bought me my first pair of running shoes. It's always a joke with my husband and I. I met my husband in high school, 10th grade at a track meet, and I was wearing, we called them my Kmart specials. You know?
I think we all had a pair of those, at least at some time in our career.
And I won the state meet in those Kmart specials. And then, and then my senior year, Mr. Zickes bought me an actual pair of running shoes. My junior year, I got bused to Glenville, but I don't want to get off track. But he was always there. I think he had like 7 or 8 kids. Wow. So he understood what kids were going through, and if I didn't want to talk, he wouldn't push anything. And then it continues with, the summer track. I ran for the Easy Striders.
Yes.
So I had Bob Grease there.
Yes.
I had Mike Bailey.
Yes.
Jim Emery. Who else was there? Were you there
Yes.
coaching? Yeah.
I was there.
All these great legends. They're all in the Ohio Track and Cross Country Hall of Fame. These guys are my coaches.
Wow.
And then I go on to college, and Ken Lehman, who coached for West Liberty Salem, who is in the Ohio Track and Cross Country Coaches Hall of Fame, he was my coach in college. So
I got
just had all
goosebumps
these
just hearing this.
coaches, these great mentors, and yeah, they were all men, but I mean, that's just how it was, And they teach you things like character. That hard work develops character, develops you as a person. It carries over into every aspect of your life, into academics, into your personal life. And this is something that I try to tell my athletes, because I also coach. And I just always want to share that message with them. And just, Mrs. Fox, I can't do it anymore. I'm like, you have to do it. This is building character in you. This is making you a stronger person. I'm going to push you physically and mentally every day.
Yes.
And guess what? You're going to be stronger. You're going to be a stronger person because of that. And that was instilled in me from the time I started running.
Wow.
By all these great people that I was surrounded with. And it was, my husband and I, we talk about this all the time. We just fell into this great, we're lucky. We're just so lucky. We say we're so lucky. Oh yeah, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. I don't know. We've just been so blessed our entire lives with the people that we've been in contact.
That's a great story. That's a great story. Absolutely. Well, I hope many people get an opportunity to hear that and realize the importance of mentorship and coaching and teachers and those people, outside of your family that have had an influence, impact on your life. Absolutely.
Couldn't have done it.
Sediah, I'm sure the story is not much different for you.
Yeah.
What kind of impact and influence did, you've already talked a little bit about your 2 coaches, but talk about them more on a personal level outside of the sport of track and field and cross country.
Yeah, so Miss Gonzalez, I don't want to keep saying Miss Gonzalez, Miss Morera for her husband gets me, but she was very influential, mainly because my father was a single parent and he was raising me on his own. Wow. So to have, that female energy around me, like in somebody who wasn't just, there to coach me and then she would go home for the day. Yeah. She would pick me up for school in the morning. She wasn't just like a coach. Like I considered her like my friend, my mentor. Like she was like everything to me. Wow. Even I saw her like 2 weeks ago riding my bike down the street with my kids, and she had her cross country kids in her car, and she was like, I was just telling them about you. And I was like, I tell my husband about her, and I'm just like, she taught me so many small life lessons. Like she taught me, when you want to get your first car, buy it with cash, don't use your credit. Like when you go to college, don't use your credit for like anything until you're able to like really build your credit. When she was like, when you buy your first house, like even if you have a husband, put it in your name. She was just like on top of everything. And when I needed somebody to talk to in college, because once I got to college, it was completely different for me. I went to Akron University, and when I got there, I was the only minority on the cross country team. So it was kind of rough for me to like, be a part of something that I wasn't used to. I went to Rose and we were like extremely diverse. And you go to Akron and it's just like it's just you. Exactly. So I would call her and I'm just like, I'm kind of uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to like mix in with everybody. It's just like, you're there to do a job. You're there to accomplish a degree, like, and run. And like, that's what you have to focus on. Like, and she will always just like get me to focus on this is what's important. Like, don't think about all of the outside world. Like, you focus on this. Like, and if I told her I can't do something, that was like, you're going to run extra now because you said I can't. Like, and I want to show you that you can. Like, for practice, I was telling Cindy, I was like, she would go pick up my teammate from my house and be like, all right, Sediah, give me your bag. We'll see you at the school. I live 5 miles away from Rhodes. I would get to Rhodes, and she would be like, okay, good job. No, go back home. And I'm like,
I love it.
are you
I love
serious?
it. I love
Like, so I don't get to practice with everybody else? Like, I just got to go home.
That's outstanding. You had the best of both worlds because you had a female and a male coach to help guide you.
Yeah.
And it's like having a mommy and a daddy.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially young ladies, can play mommy versus daddy and daddy versus mommy and whatnot. Which coach was the toughest?
Oh, they were both tough.
Okay.
Yeah. There
you
was
couldn't
no
play mommy versus daddy and daddy versus
there
mommy.
was no getting over on Owens or Miss neither of them.
Either one.
No,
Yeah.
no, not at all. They both were like, no, you're gonna do it.
That's excellent. That's excellent. That's excellent. I want to just a couple of more quick questions, and this one is for both of you. Obviously, the Cleveland Metropolitan School District track and field and cross country programs, and even some of the athletic programs, recently have not been competing at the same level that they had been in the past. And that's why this project is so important for people to see the greatness that existed in our Senate, in our Cleveland schools for so many years, from 1904 to present. And you guys being part of that excellence, can we get back to that? Do you think that there's any way that we can get back to the Cleveland schools having sports programs that can compete with anyone? And if we can, what do you think is the formula? What do you think we need to do to get back to that level of excellence? Cindy, I'll have you start, and then Sediah.
Okay. Well, being a coach in Cleveland, coaching girls track and cross country at Rhodes, I think, well, I know we have a problem just with numbers. Mm-hmm. Our schools are so small now. The small schools really destroyed track programs, in my opinion.
Okay.
Open enrollment.
Thank you for being honest.
It's tough to get kids to come to practice or stay for practice if they have to catch a bus downtown and then the rapid and then another bus, and they have to get home before the buses stop running.
Yes.
And that's tough, especially with young ladies.
Absolutely.
When you're training for indoor track.
Yes.
And it gets dark at 5 o'clock or 4:30, and school's over at 3, you start practice at 3:15, and then what can you do in those couple hours before they have to leave?
Exactly.
And then there's the problem with kids track meets on Saturdays, and we have nobody, the athlete can't get back to school to get, to take the bus to get to the meet.
Right.
So, I mean, there's one of me, and I have several athletes. I can't pick up all these kids all the time. I try, but just with the time constraint, I can't drive all over town, east side, west side, picking up all these kids to meet at Rhodes. We take the bus to a meet, and then we're back by, indoor meets sometimes go till 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yes.
And then to get them all back home.
Wow.
So I feel that the commitment from a lot of parents aren't there.
Okay.
The small schools,
Okay.
open enrollment,
Okay.
and we don't have the coaches that we used to have.
That's important.
Yes. And that's very important.
That's important.
I mean, you have some people out there that really want to work with the kids and are busting their hump just trying to get the eligibility and the academics, get the kids there, get them in uniforms, get them fed sometimes. I have to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for my kids. Yeah, they have the school lunch and the school breakfast, but they don't want to eat that, and because it's not always that
People need to hear this. People need to hear this.
So the money that I spend just to buy water, granola bars, apples, oranges, ice, peanut butter and jelly,
Yes. I know.
every track meet, every cross country meet, because we want them to eat before they run, and then we want them to have something while they're waiting around during races, for track during races. So yeah, it's the commitment, the coaches, small schools, open enrollment, and what else did I say? I can't remember.
Well,
part of getting old.
That's
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
those
I could
are,
be
those
wrong,
are major
but
obstacles. Those are
I could be
definitely
wrong.
major
And
obstacles.
is there a quick fix? There's no quick fix.
No.
You know, kids are different. Sure, they're different. Technology, you know, Instagram, everything's instant, automatic. When they see professional athletes on TV, they just see the final product. They don't see all the, let's start with the hours, weeks, months, years of preparation to get to that point. They just want it all now, and they get out on the track, and I say, okay, run a lap.
That's today's reality.
Yeah.
That's today's
What's you have for
reality.
breakfast?
You know,
Pop-Tart.
we're a microwave generation. You know,
yeah.
we just want it quick, and you know, everything. Distance running is just not.
Oh God, no.
Doesn't lend itself to.
No.
You
Not
know,
even the distance running, just like the
I'm
regular,
just
just
saying
like the
distance
training.
running. Yeah, just
You know, get them to lift
being-
weights, get them to,
exactly.
you know.
Being involved in any kind of a consistent program
Yeah.
is difficult. So, what's your take on what we need to do to get back to our high
So
level
I
of-
can't speak from like a school perspective, but definitely being a parent myself, I would have to say it's like parent involvement, really.
Okay,
Like I just feel like if the parent isn't as invested as that child is, or if you tell your child like, if you don't want to do something, you don't have to. Like, you know, we've gotten to that point in society where it's just like we allow our kids to give up and say, I want to quit, instead of like making them stick it out and actually finish something, see it to the end. Like there was a point where I wanted to quit track, and my father came up to the track meet and was like, you're not quitting.
It ain't happening.
You know, like it's not happening. Like, and you know, he didn't know at that point I was going to get a full scholarship to college. He just was like, you're not quitting.
Right.
And you know, nowadays, like, it's all about like fairness. Like my son takes karate class, and you know his master will be like, you guys all won, and I'm like, no, there's a clear winner
Well,
and
trophy for
there's a
everybody
loser.
mentality.
Yeah, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, and my son, he's 4, and he'll do that with his sister, and he'd be like, oh sister, it's a tie, and I'm like, no, she won.
Right.
You know, like it's not a tie. It's not, you're not going to always win in life. Like sometimes you're
Yes.
going to fail in life, and you have to be okay with failing. Because in order to succeed, you had to have failed a couple times before.
Exactly.
So I think that parents being involved, allowing their kids to see failure and succeed in life, like if you don't, you're going to hinder them for the rest of their lives. They're going to go into the workforce field and be like, I thought it was supposed to be easier than this. I thought everything was supposed to be easier, and it's not easy. And distance running particularly is not easy. Like people used to ask me all the time, like, when you're out there running, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, finishing. Like, you know, I'm not like thinking about like the pizza I'm gonna eat. You know, I'm thinking about finishing.
Right.
You know, so
Good answer.
it's hard, but I love running, and it's something I still use to this day with my kids. I run with them in the stroller.
Yes,
You know, they love it. Like I clear my mind through running, and I think that if parents like actually focused on like their kids and not on other things, like
So basically,
be better.
both of you have pretty much concluded that there's no easy fix.
There's no easy
That it's
No.
just, you know, it's something that we as a concerned community have to come together and address and come up with some strategies.
Yes.
And get some people in there that have that same kind of passion that your coaches had, and
Yeah.
that, you know, parents that were supportive like your parents. And with that, and having some gauge of time that we can put to this getting fixed, make this thing work out.
Yeah, and it's not going to be in a year or 2 years.
No,
it's going to take quite
it's
a
going
while.
to take a while.
It's gonna
Yeah.
take quite a while.
I've got one last question for both of you. Obviously, this dialogue that we have right now has come about because of the Sports Legends Senate project that Miss Nicole Antoinette Smith was the visionary of and put together. This book and the associated video, I think, has the potential to be a game changer, because it's chronicling the history of our Senate Athletic League from 1904 to the present. It's letting the present athletes and coaches and those parties that that have some stake in this, it's letting them know that we have a storied history
We do.
in sports that goes way back in a multitude of sports, and we've had some outstanding athletes in a tremendous variety of sports over the years. Just briefly, how do you feel this project can be a true game changer, and what do you think the final product can do to help our present generation, our future generation, and our past generation be able to know that what they're doing and what we've done has made and can make a difference?
Do you want to? I think it's, as you said, it's going to be a game changer, just to make the community, the state, the country, everyone aware of what we have here, and to bring that pride to our students, to our school system. I think that will do a lot for us.
Wow.
So I said it at the beginning of the interview, when Ron Addison's picture was on the wall, and I said, I want to be like him.
Yes.
How do I do that, Coach?
Wow.
You know, he said, you have to be a state champ. So I was, and my picture's on the wall.
Yes.
So I have both my athletes now, they say, how do I get on the wall? You know, and Owens put athletes' pictures, the kids, how do I get on the wall? You have to be a state champ. You have to make it to the state meet if you want to be on that wall. So now with the sports legends thing, they can see all of this. How can I be in that book? How can I be part of that? That's what I'm hoping.
Yes.
I'm sure we're all hoping. It's going to bring some sustainability, some validity to this whole, since 1904, I mean, we want to sustain that. We want to continue that. We want our children, we want them, we created this legacy for them.
Yes.
And we want them to continue it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, okay, if I have one, give me one. Just give me one. I don't need a whole team. Just give me one. I just want one. And I think that's what all coaches think. I can do it with one.
Right.
I mean, I'd like to have more, but maybe if I start with that one, if I can touch one, if I can change one, if I can make them a lifelong fitness, you know, pursuing fitness, it's a lifelong endeavor.
Exactly.
You know, just to be involved in the sports. And it was so great seeing all these sports legends just come, and I can't wait for the gala on October 19th. It's going to be so fun. Just seeing all these people that I've seen when I was in high school, and you know, heard about or met them or coached me or ran against them, or you know, it's just going to be a wonderful feeling.
Well, I agree totally with you. What are your feelings on this project?
I think the same thing. You know, when she was talking about the wall, I was thinking, you know, I was telling my husband about this interview, and he was like, well, what makes you a sports legend, honey? And it's like, I don't really talk about myself much, you know, like I don't like tell my family, like, you know, I was like the first African American to go to the state meet for cross country. And they're like, were you? You know, it's just, I think making the book, like, is, like, expanding our history for everybody to know. Like, and not, like, downplaying how amazing, like, everybody was and is, like, to this day. Like, so I think that's, like, super important to, like, make it known, like, how amazing, like, these athletes were, like, and to tell our story and not to just, like, you know, leave it to, you know, just, you know, somebody finally running track and finding out about you. Like, it should just be known. Like, and even the school should, like, make it more of a broadcast. Like, tell the students when they're coming to tour the school, like, this is why these pictures are up here. Like, these is how amazing these people are, you know.
Well,
and it's unfortunate that there are some people in this district who work for this district who, they're not from Cleveland.
Yes.
And they're hired from outside the district, and they come into the schools, and they kind of, I have a feeling, I've been teaching I'm a former classroom teacher now, high school librarian. This is my 31st year in the district. And I work at Rhodes High School, where I graduated from. But I encounter people who are trying to put our history away. They're trying to hide it. You know, they're not embracing our history. They want to start new. They want it to be their show.
Right.
Well, come on. We can't get rid of, you know, all these years of history, all of these legends, and it's not just in sports, it's in other aspects.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
If people
Like
get an opportunity
Cindy started
to
the
see,
history.
well, she sure
For
did.
me to follow behind, you know.
I know
like,
you guys are saying, I want to beat all her records. I'm looking at those records. We're going to beat those records.
Exactly.
Yeah, but like,
people
you
see
know,
what
to
other
create,
people have done.
to beat them,
broken, right,
When
exactly.
people see what other people have done, it gives them the impetus and the motivation to realize that if
Yeah.
you did it,
I can do
Why
it.
can't
Yeah.
I? That's
Like
huge.
there's something to look
That's
forward
huge,
to.
exactly.
Like looking when I was in high school and I was looking at all of her records, I was just like, it's something to look forward to. Like
Right.
I have a goal, you know.
Exactly.
Like without the
Right.
goal, like what am I doing it for? You know.
Exactly. It's just kind of about on an island alone.
Yeah.
So, ladies, I
Oh, wait, I
appreciate.
gotta add one more thing.
Go ahead.
Okay. So there are no tracks on the west side. We don't have any tracks on the west side.
That's
Yeah.
huge. That's got
it.
to change.
Yeah, you
That's
know, we
gotta
have
change.
roads. We do have our track at roads. The Browns, you know,
Yes.
tremendous. They built a field. You know, they put a turf field in for us, which is great. But our track is still, it's not even cinders anymore. They
It's
dumped
just-
pebbles onto it
Exactly.
so that it doesn't mess up the turf field. So I have kids out there raking. I guess it's part of their workout, you know, their weight training to get out and rake the first 2 lanes just so we have something to run in.
See, no,
And I think
people don't
that's the
realize
only,
what
that's
you're
the,
up
that is the
against.
only track on the
Yes.
west side.
Wow.
And there's so much history. They built a brand new turf football field at John Marshall, but there's no track.
No
See,
track.
that's
And
that,
these
that
like-
there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse
So
for
it'd be
that.
nice to
Especially
have-
with a Jesse Owens and a Harrison Dillard. And
Exactly.
with
We
all
still
the-
have the Jesse
we should
Owens
have,
tree.
We should have, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, we
we
still
should
have
have
Jesse
tracks at
Owens
all
roads,
all the
yeah.
facilities. So, ladies, I appreciate so much your candor. I appreciate so much your honesty and just you know, being able to share so much of yourself with this project. And I'm sure that when people get an opportunity to hear you and see you, that it's going to make a difference in their lives. So thank you very much for your time here.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
And, we'll see you down the road, literally.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.